Okay, I wanted to do a video before I got too far in. I've already mixed most of this together. This was goat food, which here's my goat food. This is what I give my goats. But it's too high. Oh, scared me. I thought it was moldy. That's my herbs that I put in there. It's too high in copper for the sheep. It'll kill the sheep if I give them too much of it. I put this diatomaceous earth herbal blend that I make in there to kill parasites and as a medical preventative. I try to be as organic as possible, but I'm not stupid, and I understand that you may not always be able to be 100% organic. That's why I had issues with a former friend. His and my both our goats were dying because they were parasite ridden, and I didn't know. I didn't know anything about goats at the time, but he said that they were inbred, and that was why they were dying. So I went out and bought. At the time, they were his goat, all his goats. But when he said that they were inbred and that's why they were dying, I was like, oh. So I went out and bought more goats to change the DNA so they wouldn't be inbred anymore. The pigs smell the feed, they want in. But they still kept dying. And then he blamed me that I bought too many goats, and we only had like 15 goats. And I got 15 acres here, and he tried to tell me that it's my fault they were dying, that we had too many goats for this land. And I'm like, that doesn't even make any sense. You know, I Googled it, and I was like, you could go, you know, up to 10 goats per acre, and I got 15 acres. I should be able to have up to 150 goats here, you know, but that's probably too many goats. But 15 is not too many. Kevin, stop. You can't have any. Well, here, I can give you some. Here, Kevin. Go have fun. He says that's not good enough. Come here, Kevin. There's poop over there. Go over there. There you go. I don't want them to. They're bottom feeders. They eat on the bottom, off the ground anyways. But I try to put it on something where they're not eating off the ground as much. There's metal tin over there. Now they're gonna fight over it. But anyway, so I put two and two together. I did some research, and I tested the goat's poop, and I found out they were parasite ridden. So I got him the pharmaceutical to kill the parasites, and he refused to give it to them, and so more goats died. And he kept saying, oh, we can't call ourselves organic if we give them this medicine. It's like, well, they're going to die. We don't have a choice. So that's basically when I took over goat care and goat maintenance and pretty much took over the goats because I didn't want to see them die. He obviously didn't give a damn. So as much as I would like to be organic, I understand that you can't be 100% organic all the time. Maybe you can, but we obviously hadn't figured it out, and I still haven't 100% figured it out. But this herbal blend goes a long ways. I've only had to medicate them maybe once a year or once every other year. I had to medicate them this year. No, last year, but I didn't have to medicate them the year before. So, and when I say last year, it was actually last month. This is January, that was December. So this winter was the only time I had to medicate them in the last 2 years. So I'm doing pretty good at goat rotation with the herbal medicine and giving them a variety of feed. You don't want to give them too much corn because corn will give goats a urinary tract or bucks. It'll give bucks a urinary tract infection. And I found out by mistake that it could give the females polio because when my girlfriend and I first got together, she accidentally spilt a bag of corn up front that I had bought for attracting or to attract the coons in these cages. I got bigger ones than this, but I was using the corn and the soybean to trap the coons and possums, but mostly coons, because the cats won't eat that. And so I had to put something in the cages that the cats won't eat, and that's what I used. So I picked up most of the corn, but I didn't pick up enough, and the goats cleaned it up, which was fine, but they ate too much, and one got polio. So you got to be careful giving them too much corn. Now, my former friend, that's all he would feed his goats was corn, which that's probably another reason why they died. Plus, he never trimmed their hooves, and they probably got hoof rot and died. So who knows? But anyway, so I wanted to show basically what I give them. And now that I got sheep and pigs, because pigs are easy for the most part. But now that I got sheep, I got to be a little bit more careful. That was why I was afraid to get sheep in the first place, because sheep can't have too much copper. Now, goats, on the other hand, they have to have copper. If they don't have enough copper, they'll die. And sheep, if they have too much copper, they'll die. So I'm kind of working out a blend here where it's got some copper in it, but not too much copper. So what I was doing was I was taking the previous sheep feed that I had and blending a little bit of goat food in with it, but not too much, just a little. So that has some more copper for the goats, but not too much for the sheep. But now I still got this tote, and I didn't realize it was this empty. If I realized it was this empty, I would have just dumped the other goat food in here. But oh well. What I'll probably do is if I have any excess from this blend, then I'll put it in the goat food, and then I'll give the goats a little extra. But this basically, these two and these two bags here basically have no copper in them. And this one, it says 12%. I don't know if that's protein or fat. But one's high in fat and the other's high in protein. And so blending the two together kind of balances out the protein and the fat. So I'm going to blend these two. This is ADM product. I don't normally buy ADM. It's a little expensive. But the place that I normally buy my feed from, they're not open today. They are open tomorrow. And I happen to just have today off. So I got ADM. It's not that much more expensive. I think I spent an extra $5 on feed today. So not a big deal. I don't feed them a lot of grain. Mostly they forage. I mostly have the grain so that I can give them their herbal medicine. Because it's hard to give them medicine, you know. So I put the medicine, the herbal medicine, in their feed, which they love to feed. I call it candy because they love it so much. They want it all day, every day. But they don't. They get it a couple times a week. So I put this herbal blend that I made in the feed, and then that's how I give them their herbal medicine. And so then I give it to them a few times a week. And the rest of the time they're out foraging. The only time I'll give them any extra is when they're pregnant or they're nursing, which is right now. So right now I'll be giving them a little bit more because they're having babies and they're nursing their babies. So we want to keep the babies healthy. So having sheep on the land, I got to do kind of like a fine balance. But another thing I learned is salt licks. If there's no copper in their feed, but they need copper, they'll go to the salt lick and get the copper that they need, or selenium, or whatever. So what I've learned, and I learned this recently, I wish I'd known it sooner, but what I've learned is you want to go ahead and get one of each salt block. You know, they're like 50-pound salt licks, and you want to get one of each, and then give them the proper nutrients they need through their feed and through hay. I brought in some hay, so they have hay to eat. They get grain a few times a week, and then they got their salt licks, and then they forage for the rest of their food. Most of their food they forage for. But the salt licks are crucial because if they're lacking the nutrients that they need from the land or the feed, they can go to the salt lick and get it. And they use like a sixth sense that we have, but we don't use. They know what they need, so they go to that salt lick and they get that mineral from that salt lick. And I actually learned that from the sheep lady that I bought my Dorper ram from. So you learn something new every day. So anyways, so I'm gonna get the blend in. I might use all this up, but this will be mostly for the sheep. The pigs, they'll get some of it, but the pigs will mostly clean up after the sheep and goat. I just gave them the feed this time to distract them because they were being annoying. But anyways, but yeah, sheep, they can have copper. They need copper, just not very much. Goats, they need a lot of it. So just got to figure out the balance. I just bought another 15 or 30 acres, or I'm buying another 30 acres. And I was going to have just the sheep over there and the goats over here. But what I think I'm going to do is just have the mothers over here and the father, of course, and take all the babies over there. Because then that way I don't have to castrate them. If I leave them here, I got to castrate them. So once they're weaned, I can take them over there and I don't have to castrate them. Supposedly they get better meat that way. I don't know. What I might do is have 50-50, leave half here, take half there. And in that way, Kevin, he's funny. That way, I can just kind of test it out, see which one's better. But I don't know. I think from what I understand from the research that I've done, if you castrate them, they get more fat. So if you want the meat to be more fatty, then you want to castrate them. If you want it to be more meaty, then you don't want to castrate them. If you do castrate them, you don't have to butcher them before a year's time. If you don't castrate them, then you do need to butcher them before a year's time. If you do castrate them, which we call weathering, then you could wait a little longer than a year, but you don't want to wait too long, maybe a year and a half. So there you go. My fingers are starting to freeze, so I need to get going. But yeah, this is my herbal blend. It's a diatomaceous earth base, and then I put other herbs in it to fight whatever problems I want to fight, like parasites. There's herbs in there for other things too, like ringworm, which is not a parasite, it's actually a fungus. And that's actually bad for the cats mostly. But I put herbs in here for that as well. So because we did have a ringworm breakout here 2 years in a row, almost, and so I started adding ringworm herbs to the supplement. And but yeah, basically just anything that they need, I put in here. Now that I got sheep, I'm gonna have to come up with another blend, but this blend works pretty good for goats, cats, and chickens. Probably guineas too, and probably pigs too. But sheep are more sensitive. They're different, so I'll have to do some research and make sure this is okay for sheep. I'm sure it is, but I might have to make another blend for sheep. And yeah. Anyways, all right, my fingers are freezing. Gotta go. Bye.